What's up guys, it's Jeff Chan from MMA Shredded, and in today's video, I'll be showing you 9 basic yet very effective double leg setups that you can use in pure grappling. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So the first basic and effective double leg setup is not really a setup, but a strategy and counter, which is the idea of shooting for a takedown right after you just defended against one, also known as reshooting. After defending a takedown, a common reaction of your opponent would be to posture or stand back up, which is the perfect timing to catch them by surprise and shoot underneath them. One of the key factors to scoring your double leg is to get underneath your opponent. So here I defended the takedown with my underhook and continued to hold him down, so my opponent naturally wanted to posture up and reset, which was when I shot underneath and surprised them with my double. Here's another example. I defended with my underhook, but continued to keep his posture broken by pulling him down. When I felt my opponent resisted more to posture up, I let go and shot underneath him. A different scenario here. My opponent shoots for a leg and I defended by cross-facing and sprawling. My opponent pulls back to posture and I shoot underneath. Similarly, here, my opponent shoots to grab my legs, in which I defended by shooting my hips and legs back. I baited him by tugging his head down with my right arm, and as he resisted by posturing up, I shot underneath. And here are some more examples. Now on to the second basic and effective double leg setup. The main key principle remains, which is to try to get underneath our opponents. So I like to collar tie with one arm and control the wrist with the other hand. I like to either tug the wrist and neck down so that they try to posture up, and then I shoot for my takedown. Or in this case, while my opponent is trying to keep busy trying to free their wrist from my control, I shoot for my takedown. A different scenario here. I have wrist control and the collar tie, and I'm tugging down. As my opponent resists and tries to disengage by backing away, I shoot for my takedown. You guys already saw this footage earlier in the reshoot examples, but here I had collar tie and wrist control, tugged down and shot underneath as he postured up. One more example, collar tie and wrist control, tugged down and shot underneath. On to our third setup. Still following our principle of trying to get underneath our opponent, we want to lift our opponent's hands or elbows up and above us as we change levels and shoot for the takedown. So here I lifted my opponent's hands and shot for my double. Another example here, I controlled my opponent's hands, lifted them up as I changed levels and shot for my double. Another clip from the reshoot examples here. This time, I lifted at the elbows and shot underneath for my double. One more from the reshoot examples. I lifted the elbows and into my double. And here are some more examples. Setup 4, the arm drag. I want to first control my opponent's wrist. Then I want to use my free arm to grab the back of my opponent's tricep, pulling my opponent forward. If your opponent does not resist, you can take their back, but an experienced opponent will pull their arm back to avoid their back being taken, and while they pull their arm back, they are also leaning back or at the very least distracted with the arm, which is when you want to shoot for that double. Another example here, I have the collar tie and then I got wrist control. Went for the arm drag and immediately shot for the double. Setup 5, the Russian twist. We use this when we are in neutral clinch. Both my opponent and I have a collar tie. The Russian tie is used to remove our opponent's arm off our head. To do that, we want to lift our elbow pointing to the sky and use our forearm to push our opponent's arm to the left, the arm controlling our neck, as we use our free hand to peel the hand controlling our neck and shrug our shoulder and pull our head back to be free of the hand. Once we break free of the collar tie with our Russian twist, we try to catch our opponent by surprise with a double leg. Here's another example, not fully the definition of the Russian twist, but my opponent had his collar tie. I used my right arm to get an outside collar tie and shrugged my right shoulder as I pulled my head away and removed his hand off my head. Then when my opponent postured or pulled back from the shoulder shrug, I shot for my double. Setup 6, palm on bicep and collar tie. Unfortunately, I could not find good real-time footage for this. So what you see here is not real-time sparring, but a demonstration with no resistance. Use your lead arm to collar tie. Your opponent's natural response is to put their arm on your bicep and also get the collar tie. Then you would put your rear hand on your opponent's bicep, putting yourself in a neutral clinch position with your opponent. You want to gain inside bicep control like in the first setup, so you'll now step 45 degrees to the side with your rear leg as you tug the head in quarter turn. The purpose of this turn is to create space between your chest and your opponent's bicep. As you turn and create that space, you're going to sneak your rear hand in to get inside bicep control. From there, break the collar grip your opponent has on you by pushing the bicep and pulling your head back. Then use the grip of the inside bicep control and collar tie to pull your opponent over your shoulders as you change levels and shoot for the double leg. So here's one example of my real-time sparring. You can't see clearly, but I had bicep control and collar tie and pulled them above me to shoot for my double. Setup 7, rear arm collar tie to the inside bicep control. This was actually taught to me by George St. Pierre during a grappling class at TriStar Gym. The more standard way to collar tie is to use the lead arm, but George teaches to use your rear arm to reach for the head first. A natural reaction from your opponent would be to immediately put their hand on top of your bicep to prevent you from snapping down the head. If they do not put their hand on your arm, you have control, putting you at an advantage to snap down the head. Now, assuming your opponent puts their hand on your arm, you're going to immediately slide your rear hand onto the bicep to gain inside bicep control, and your lead hand will look to collar tie. From there, step your rear leg 45 degrees to the side and quarter turn as you tug and churn your opponent, bringing their rear leg closer to you. As your opponent is being churned, you use the grip of the inside bicep control and collar tie to pull your opponent over your shoulders as you change levels by dropping to your lead knee deep in between your opponent's legs and grab onto the legs. Then sweep the back leg and push off that leg for more power. Then use your lower back to lift your opponent up into the air and turn their legs off to the side as their head aims to the floor. Unfortunately, I have not had the chance to try this out in sparring yet. Setup 8, the baseball grip. I also did not find any real-time footage for this. So start with the collar tie and wrist control. Then switch to the baseball grip, grabbing the arm with both hands like you're holding a baseball bat. Then tug down, and when your opponent pulls back, let go of the baseball grip and straight into our blast double. The last setup, number 9, the push. We're going to push our opponent in the shoulders, and when our opponent resists by pushing back, we shoot for our double.